and your mama, and your mama's mama.
So I recently beat Black Myth Wukong on stream, and I did it all on a treadmill. I do usually start off my streams on a treadmill, and I go on the treadmill for about 2 hours and 30 minutes, and this entire session of me going from airline to the final boss was around 2 hours and 47 minutes. After that, I was pretty drenched in sweat. My pants were just like, my pants, my shirt, even my towel, my controller, it was all sweaty, and I definitely needed a good shower after that. And if you don't see me on a treadmill, I usually either finished my run or even didn't do a treadmill stream that day. And if you watch a VOD and I'm not doing treadmill at all, guys, I'm not slacking, I swear. I usually start off the day with some resistance training, or I do resistance training after the stream. I've been doing this just to stay healthy and, of course, lose some weight because I did let myself go over the years. And I want to get back in a better shape and feel good about myself. And apparently there are some individuals who are upset because I do treadmill on stream. And funny enough, what they're saying is that, oh, he's just doing this on stream so he can get an excuse to work out, and he's making money from it. I mean, let's be honest. Would I rather be sitting down playing video games all day? I mean, what kind of dumb logic is that? Also, you mad, bruh? Now I'll say one thing. This is by far one of the best games I've played in a long time. Seriously. And I would have to say this is definitely, and I'll have to say this has to win Game of the Year. I mean, what are we talking about here? And Black Myth Wukong was the first game of its genre that I played. Since I never played any game that had some sort of Souls-like mechanics. And for those who don't know, Black Myth Wukong is definitely not a Souls game. It's very fast-paced, less weighty. The combat is insanely good. There are some times where I molded that I couldn't animation cancel some of my attacks, but then yeah, I got skill issued and died. And this being the first game I played in this genre, it definitely tested me in some areas. I say some areas because there were only a few bosses that actually made me go back and forth before I actually beat them. And I can actually remember every boss that challenged me greatly. The Chapter 2 final boss, apparently I beat that without using the relic that was supposed to weaken him, so that's cool. The Chapter 3 boss, one of the worst designed bosses in that game. I would have to say that is the only boss that I found was really dumb and did not like. And apparently a lot of people did share my sentiment. And the Yellow Long, is that his name? The lightning dragon guy who used a polearm. I think it took me around 20 tries before I finally killed him. It got me molding. But it was definitely, at that time, one of my favorite fights. Because it had so many like cool moves, and I was trying to dodge, and I was trying to do so many parries with his rock solid. Then I thought that was it. And then I fought the Chapter 4 boss. It didn't take that long, but apparently I was supposed to use a needle, and I didn't do it, and I killed that guy without the needle, so there's that. After all of that, I was like, yeah, these fights are not so bad, right? This game is pretty good. I love the aesthetic, love the world and the chapters. But I have to say one thing. Chapter 3 sucks, man. It's not... Okay. It's not bad, but there are just some parts of the chapter that I really, really hated. The prison part. I hated that part. That part actually made... That was the first time I started molding in that game. Good God. I hated that part. And apparently there are some people who's like, oh, so you never played a Souls games. There are sections in Souls games that are worse than this. I'm like, God damn. But yeah, I really hated that pagoda part where I had to climb the prison tower. Oh, I hated that so much. And of course, the final boss of Chapter 3, I would say the worst boss in the game. And out of all the chapters that I've played, Chapter 4 is the best one. I just love the designs, and the bosses that were in there were the best, I would have to say. Especially the scorpion in Chapter 4, that drunken scorpion, oh my God. The animations, the way it attacked you, oh, beautiful. But apparently, all of those bosses did not compare to one of the best secret bosses, or I would say one of the best bosses that I've encountered in any video game. And what actually made me start this Black Myth Wukong journey? Was it the hype? Was it everybody talking about it? That they've all been enjoying the game and that it's an amazing game? Actually, no. When I first saw the game, I was like, oh, it's a Souls game. I don't want to play a Souls game. And there are people in my chat who says like, oh, it's just not really a Souls game. Think of it like Devil May Cry. And I love Devil May Cry. Funny enough, I say that, and the only Devil May Cry that I've played was DMC 5, and I really love the combat in there. So a lot of people are saying, oh, it's like Devil May Cry 5, but then I was like, no way, it's not. I look at the combat, it's definitely not. And there are others saying it's like God of War. I'm like, bro, I played God of War. It doesn't look like that. Until I opened a random stream. It was a French guy, and he was fighting the tiger in Chapter 2. For those who played the game, you already know the tiger. I was like, oh my god. The way it was attacking, the way it was moving, and how he was dodging. And that at that very moment, I was like, this is... Who said this was like a Souls game? This is like Wuthering Waves, but more grounded and less... anime. For those who don't know, Wuthering Waves is a gacha game. I know, right? Ooh, gacha. But it was made by the same people who did Punishing Gray Raven. And those games have amazing combat. And when I saw that, I'm like, I did try a little bit of Punish. And when I saw Black Myth Wukong, and I was like, I did play a little bit of Wuthering Waves. And this kind of has the same vibe, but less anime. And not gacha. And that's all it took. After watching that one fight session, the guy got destroyed, of course. He didn't kill the boss when I left. But after I saw that, I was just like, I'm gonna get this. So right after that, I got the game. Of course, never buy the games at full price. Third-party sites. And I'll tell you one thing, I enjoyed my time playing Black Myth Wukong. I have 68 hours. Unfortunately, not 69. I think I should just play another hour just to give it that nice number. I beat the game and also beat the game in New Game Plus. So I played the entire thing twice. That's how much I enjoyed it. And of course, the only reason I played New Game Plus was to finish some achievements. Apparently, I missed 3 bosses, 2 in Chapter 2 and 1 in Chapter 3. There was some guy on a bridge and then some tiger in a cave I missed in Chapter 2, and there was some golden monk statue thing that flew around in Chapter 3. Besides that, I did mostly all the achievements. I got all the curios. I got all the named monsters and everything. I still didn't get every single armor because there are these 2 armor pieces that don't want to drop. It was from the blind monks and those weird mantis creatures in Chapter 4. They just don't want to drop the pieces of armor, even though I'm using the curios that increases the drop rate. But yeah, those are the 2 pieces of armor I still don't have. I already beat the game, and those couple of achievements, they don't really matter that much, I guess. I will one day probably try to finish those, but I have enjoyed my time in the game. If I were to rate this game, I'll definitely say it's a 9.5 out of 10. There are a few things that made me mauled, sure, but hey. So after all of this glazing about the game, here's some more glazing. Apparently, I did all these weird hidden areas, and then someone told me, before you fight the final boss, wait, don't go there. I'm like, what? There's one more boss you haven't fought. I was like, oh, a secret boss? Do you remember that weird Buddha temple that you went to and was like, why isn't there anything there? I'm like, oh yeah. Go back there. So I go there, and then I see that little bald monk guy just chilling by the wall. Am I gonna fight this guy now? I don't want to fight Yellow Brow again. I hated that boss. Oh boy. I entered this weird snowy mountain and was met with one of the best bosses I've ever encountered. Like serious, absolute cinema. And he made me mauled so hard. I was fuming because I got wrecked so many times. He was the only boss that I struggled with in the entire game. I had to step away. After trying him so many times, I had to step away, take a break, come back the next day. And then I finally killed him. So this whole time, I was playing one way, brute forcing it, and I had to take my time, be methodical about it. And then I finally killed him. So the thing is, when I play any of these types of games, I really hate backseating. And if anybody does backseat or tell me what to do, basically spoiling the fight, I would time them out or even ban them at that point. If you don't like that, boohoo. I just wanted to experience this as a whole and just get destroyed by the boss until I figure out how to beat him. You can say skill issue all you want, doesn't matter. It was my first experience of the game, and I'll take it in stride. Because let's be honest, I suck at these games, and I beat it still. So then finally, out of all the bosses that needed a special relic, He was the first one. I used a relic. Yeah, I caved. I used the fan. That was the one thing I saw a few backseaters tell me. I still got destroyed even though I used the fan until I decided to change a build. I just sat back looking at what I had. Apparently I was missing a few armor pieces to make any sort of meaningful build. I'm just gonna put a few things together, change up some of my stances, change up some of my spirits, my spells, put points into other things, and then I finally beat Erlang. The best fight, the best boss in the entire game. I'm surprised he wasn't the final boss. And then I finally went and defeated the monkey. The final boss, of course, is fighting Wukong himself. And he was a decent fight, not the best fight. He was cheeky. I think when he did the immobilize and stole my gourd charges, that really ticked me off. I'm like, you son of a bitch! You stole my gourd, how dare you! And then I finally killed him. He didn't take too long, but the fight was pretty decent. The environment felt a bit bland, but the actual fight was pretty decent. I would say it's okay. I would say it's the number 3 best fight I've ever done. I'll have to put Erlang number 1, Yellow Long number 2, and then the Sage at number 3. Those are the top 3 fights for me. One of the things that actually really confused me a little bit, I was actually surprised to find out, is that the Chapter 5 final boss, Red Boy, whatever his name was way too easy. I was actually surprised to find out that he was the final boss of that area. But then the secret boss was actually a lot harder. Not really hard, but I died twice. But I still managed to kill him fairly quickly. Chapter 4 boss, it was okay. He just had weird hitboxes. His legs seemed like they were hittable, but you couldn't hit them. I was just like more annoyed about the hitboxes. I was like, it's fine. Not a boss that made me mauled. I wanted to experience something similar to this. People were saying, try out Sekiro. Sekiro would be perfect for you if you really like this. Elden Ring is not my type of thing, so I just avoided that. So I might try out Sekiro, but now I actually started up Monster Hunter World, and that's quite interesting. So if you want to see me trying out Monster Hunter World, you can always come over to Twitch. And if you want to hear me mauled and complain because I get skill issued a lot, then yeah, come on over to the stream, check it out. And I might even do a first impressions video on Monster Hunter World, because that is my first Monster Hunter title. Anyway, folks, that has been it from this strange, weird video. I do hope you enjoyed it and learned something from it. If you did, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, a peace. Bye-bye now.
Fuck! Pussy! Suck my dick, you little bitch. Fuck you and your mama, and your mama's mama. Ah.